Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we've got news to talk about, including what I think are probably going to end up being the final products that are released from Stellar Crown. Maybe we'll get surprised, maybe there'll be more, but for the time being, you know what? Yeah. These may well end up being the last. We are talking, of course, about check lane blisters, and this looks awesome. Now, what we got here, we got two blisters, but they're not as we generally remember them to be. What we've got is one featuring ancient Pokemon and one featuring future Pokemon. It's all Paradox all of the time, which is interesting, of course, because as a general rule, when we got these blisters in the past, we would actually get them with a full evolution line, a stage 2 evolution line. So you would get yourself free cards. Here what we've got is a little bit different. We've got ourselves free ancient or free future. And for what it's worth, ancient wins here. And the reason ancient wins is because they get Roaring Moon, and Roaring Moon is a very good card. It's already seen a bunch of play. Honestly here, it is probably one of the... I want to say it's one of the best single prizes in the game. Maybe that's hyperbole, but I don't think it is. Given, of course, that it is the center of its own deck. And the theory here is very simple. You get as many ancient cards as you like, or as you can, into the discard pile. They don't need to be Pokemon, just any ancient cards will do. And then you deal 70 damage base, plus 10 for each ancient card that you successfully get into the discard pile. And we've got things like Professor Sada's Vitality that will accelerate energy very nicely. And before you know it, you've actually got a pretty beefy, powerful Pokemon doing a bunch of damage. Has it been winning giant tournaments? No. Frankly, it hasn't. Has it been showing up, getting top cuts, and frankly running around being a very good high-level deck? Yes. Yes, it absolutely has. I'm a fan of this Roaring Moon. Do I want to buy a blister pack with free cards and a booster to get the Roaring Moon? I'm not so sure about that one, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not so sure about that one, but it's still cool, and I still like it. Elsewhere, in terms of our ancient Pokemon here, we've got Sandy Shocks, and to be fair, Sandy Shocks has also seen a bunch of play. It is a good single prize option in ancient decks. Single energy, 20 damage, but if you've got 3 or more energy in play, you deal 90. Now, it doesn't hit for weakness, which is sad because fighting weakness is a good one to hit right now. But you whack this in a deck with, well, I mean, it's a bunch of options, but Raging Bolt comes to mind with Teal Mask Ogapon, and all of a sudden that is a decent single prize attacker and one that you can absolutely have some fun with. And to be fair, the final one in this blister is Screamtail, and that's another very good card. It's mostly played in Gardevoir decks, and it's very good in Gardevoir decks. What it does is for 2 energy, you deal 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Now, the 2 energy is not a problem because of the aforementioned Gardevoir, but also Gardevoir, you actually pile a bunch of energy on there. Each energy you accelerate with Gardevoir's ability puts 2 damage counters on there. And then you end up with a heavily damaged Screamtail using Roaring Scream to do a huge amount of damage to a bench Pokemon. It is one of the things that's made Gardevoir better in the second year of the Scarlet and Violet block. So, honestly, I like all 3 of these. All 3 of these are good. I am not such a fan of the future one because those cards just aren't as good. We've got the Iron Thorns, and I like Iron Thorns. I think it's a good card. But, frankly, we've had it for a little while now, and it's not proven to be as good as we may have hoped. The best thing about it is 2 energy. Reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, and you do 70 damage for each future card you find there. They get discarded, and other cards go back into your deck. Big hit at pre-releases, literally and figuratively. But the fact remains we've had it for a while, and it's not been wrecking the metagame. Similarly, Iron Hands is coming along here, another lightning Pokemon, again, came around in Temporal Forces. And for free energy, it does 160 to a Pokemon EX or Pokemon V, but that's a lot of energy to put onto 140 HP Pokemon, and frankly, 160 is not enough. If it was, we'd be happy, but it's not, I'm sorry. And then the final one we see popping up here in terms of future Pokemon is Iron Valiant. And we actually had multiples of them in Temporal Forces, but this is the one with Gemini Laser, single energy, 20 to the active, 20 to one of your opponent's bench. Although, as always, when we're talking about these future decks, use Iron Crown to do an extra 20 for each Iron Crown you've got in play. Use Future Boost Energy Capsule to do an extra 20 damage if it's your tool of choice. And then it actually turns into still 20 to the bench, but a lot more than 20 to the active. But the fact remains, these future ones have not been particularly good. The ancient ones have actually proven to be pretty gosh darn nice. But there's another thing we need to have a little bit of a chat about today, and that is the new Chinese set. There is a new Chinese set that has gone and been revealed, and again, it's weird and it's kind of cool. You see, it is actually a set that is based around Hisuian Zoroark, of all things. Yes, Hisuian Zoroark apparently gets its own set. Why? I'm not entirely sure. We are, of course, here talking mainland China, simplified Chinese. We are not talking Hong Kong and Taiwan, traditional Chinese. And it's weird that Hisuian Zoroark would get its own set here. Remember, that was a promo for us. That was actually one that came around in a V-Star Premium collection, although to be fair, it was the alternate art that came around there, but it certainly was not something we were expecting to see as, you know, a Pokemon leading its own set. That's just generally not where this one goes. But as I've been telling you for a while, it's one of the cool things we see from mainland China here as they're catching up into Pokemon TCG. They're doing weirder things and bringing in sets and Pokemon and cards, etc., certainly in a different way than we would generally expect. And they've revealed a bunch of stuff in here. Obviously, along with Hisuian Zoroark, we got Gapejaw Bog, which is pretty important because Hisuian Zoroark does damage based on the number of your damaged Pokemon you've got in there. And then Gapejaw Bog puts damage on there, and then we've got Damage Pump, which moves damage from one of your Pokemon to another. It's a whole suite of Hisuian Zoroark stuff. They've also gone and shown us Hisuian Goodra V-Star, which is very good. And they've shown us a couple of other things going on here. So, for instance, we've got Hisuian Voltorb, which that was just a promo for us. So seeing it in a regular set is, again, a little bit weird. But here's the thing. This Blastoise. This Blastoise is most definitely the most interesting of the cards revealed from this new set because, well, if you're thinking you haven't seen this artwork before, you're absolutely right. And if you're thinking you have seen this artwork before, no, you haven't, please stop lying. This is Blastoise. Specifically, it is the Blastoise from Pokemon Go that's got an ability, which is Vitality Spring. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 6 energy, attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like, though it does end your turn. And then 4 energy, 90 damage plus 30 more for each water energy attached to this Pokemon. It is a very, very nice card, which being a stage 2 and ending your turn on the ability means it's never worked, unfortunately. Sorry about that. But what's interesting is it's another example of a Pokemon Go card that we are getting in a different way. Now, my theory about this, and I honestly feel pretty good about this, I feel confident this is the reason, is essentially Pokemon Go has other licenses we're worried about. And so when we get these Pokemon Go cards in China, they're obviously not using the Pokemon Go logo, but my assumption is, and let's be clear, it is just an assumption, but my assumption here is that because they're Pokemon Go cards, there's some licensing issue or ownership issue or something with other partners like Niantic, so you can't just reuse the Pokemon Go artwork because that's from the Pokemon Go set. So what you do is you take the card, you give it new artwork, you don't put the Pokemon Go symbol on it, and then all of a sudden it's fine. That's my assumption, But we're still missing a bunch of Pokemon Go cards here. This was one of the ones I was waiting for. We've now got confirmation of this one getting new artwork. And of course, we got some in the previous Chinese set. We got this one here, and I'm still waiting to see what they do about Pokestop. Pokestop is one of the best cards in the set, and I obviously can't reuse the artwork, but it's Pokestop. Can they even make a Pokestop card? Is that allowed? I don't know. Do they make an exception for Pokestop? Do they print a new stadium that does the same thing with a different name? I don't know. It's a question to which I really want an answer. For now, I've told you what I can tell you, and now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about this in the comment section. Tell me what you think about the new blister packs in the comment section. Whether you like this new configuration or not. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at Lawasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourself till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.